right, so the Detroit Lions yesterday made a couple of roster moves for the first time in a couple of weeks. So they have signed a veteran linebacker, Zach Cunningham, and they've also waived linebacker Abraham Beauplan. Beauplan was a UDFA 2 years ago, was picked up by the Vikings. Then he got released, never made the team. He signed with the Lions late in the offseason last year. I'm pretty sure he didn't sign with us until week 2 of the preseason. It was either week 1 or week 2. I think it was week 2. He played very well in his first game, just being here against the Chiefs in preseason in week 2. Played very, very well. He's one of my top players from that game. Might have been the top player, honestly. I'm pretty sure he had a forced fumble or a fumble recovery or something. But he also was very good in coverage, very good in the run game. I thought he played good in special teams. He was a standout versus the Chiefs in the week 2 of the preseason. He helped that defense make us win that game. He also played well in week 3. I forgot who we were playing. I think it might have been the Jags. I don't think it was, but it might have been. But whatever team we were playing, I know he played good in week 3. I know he didn't play as good in week 3 as he did week 2, but he still played pretty good in week 3. But that sucks for Abraham Beauplan. He was elevated a couple of times last season. He was kind of like Chris Smith of 2023, getting signed, released, signed, released, signed to the 53-man, released, signed to the practice squad, released the whole season, just like Chris Smith was back in 2023. I liked Abraham Beauplan, though, from what I saw in the preseason. Was a good special teamer, bigger linebacker for sure. I believe he's close to like 250 pounds. He's a big, big linebacker. Always was solid in the pass game, but he's really, really good in the run game, and I thought he did an okay job of rushing the passer. So it's a little bit unfortunate that he's no longer with the Lions. But with the Lions signing Zach Cunningham, this is very, very interesting to me. I don't know what this is going to lead to. In my opinion, this is just depth at the linebacker position. Have a proven veteran linebacker in that room that can step in if needed in a starting role, potentially. Zach Cunningham did not play a lot last season. Let's go ahead and pull up his stats here real quick. I don't know if I showed this or not, but there's that. Let's pull up his stats here. He did not play a whole lot last season in terms of statistics. He did not have a whole bunch of statistics last season. He did play, I believe, 7 games? Yes, he played 7 games last season, was elevated most of those times. Was a former second-round, I don't know why this ad's so big, former second-round pick out of Vanderbilt in 2017 by the Houston Texans, 57th overall. He's a tall linebacker, 6'3", a little bit undersized in terms of weight, though, only 230 pounds. But was drafted in the second round, only had 2 solo tackles last season. His rookie season, he played every single game, 1.5 sacks and a forced fumble, 6 passes deflected. 2018, 14 games, missed 2, had 107 total tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pick, 5 passes deflected. 2019, played every game, led the league in tackles, if I'm not mistaken, with 142 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 passes deflected. 2020, his final year of his rookie deal, 16 games played, I know he led the league in tackles this season with 164, had 3 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 passes deflected. Then he had a massive extension after his rookie season with the Texans where he signed a 4-year, $58 million deal extension. Then I don't know what happened here. 2021 he played 10 games with the Texans, and he had 67 tackles, a forced fumble, and 3 passes deflected. And then he got, I think it was traded to the Titans. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened back in 2021. I tried to look it up there real quick. What happened in 2021? I'm assuming he got traded. I don't know why he would be released after signing a 4-year, $58 million extension the previous season. Or that off season, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know why he would just be flat out released unless he had something going on. So I'm assuming he got traded. Played 4 games with the Titans. The year he got traded, potentially 26 tackles, did nothing. 2022 only played 6 games with the Titans, 24 tackles, 1 passes deflected, defense, whatever you want to call it. 2023 had a pretty good season with the Eagles. Played 13 games, missed 4, 85 tackles, a fumble recovery, and 4 passes deflected. In this past season, he played 7 games, 4 total tackles, 2 solo. So Zach Cunningham, he has proven experience. Again, if I'm not mistaken, he led the league back-to-back in tackles, back-to-back back in 2019 and 2020. The guy is relatively healthy, especially throughout his first 4 years in the NFL. 2021 played 14 games as well. So the guy is relatively healthy. I mean, 2022, I don't know what happened if he got hurt. It doesn't look like he was playing that well, though. So there's a chance he could have been a healthy scratch. But, again, 2024, not because he was hurt, just because he didn't play a whole lot. So Zach Cunningham is relatively healthy for the most part. I've watched this guy's film. Not a whole lot, but I've watched a little bit of this film. I know who this guy was 100% when we signed him. He was never on my free agent targets for this offseason on the video I made. I think I made a video on my free agent targets. No, I didn't actually. I didn't, but I did make one by myself. Off camera, I made a free agent target list. He was not on that list, but I definitely knew who he was. He was on Denver's practice squad, and back in I think it was week 14 or week 15 when we ended up poaching former Broncos linebacker Quan Alexander from the practice squad. Zach Cunningham was also on the practice squad at the current time. However, Zach Cunningham actually got promoted or elevated to the 53-man roster, and he was going to play in week 15. So we had to end up going with Quan Alexander instead. So there was a legitimate chance if Zach Cunningham did not get elevated and Quan Alexander was to get elevated, or none of them was to get elevated that week for the Broncos, there's a different chance that Zach Cunningham would have been on our team last year and not Quan Alexander. Wish that would have been the case because Quan Alexander was horrible. No disrespect to Quan Alexander. He used to be one of the best linebackers in football about 5 years ago. But, man, he looked like Jamie Collins from 2020, 2019, 2021. If a little bit he played with us back in 21. That's what he looked like. He was horrible. He's old. Zach Cunningham is the same age as Quan Alexander. They're both 30. I actually didn't know Quan Alexander was that younger. I thought he was like 33. But Zach Cunningham is also the same age as Quan Alexander at 30 years old. Again, this could just be a depth piece. This could just be a guy to add competition in the room to push Grant Stewart and guys like that. Rodriguez is most likely going to miss the first, third, maybe even at minimum fourth of the season. He will not be back by week 1. I'd be shocked, but I could see him being back by around week 4, week 5. I did see an update from some. I don't know if he was credentialed or what, but some update, I think he was credentialed, said estimated returns, Aleem McNeil week 11 and Rodriguez week 9. I don't see that. I see Rodriguez returning a little bit earlier than that. Same with McNeil. Not like insanely early, but I see Rodriguez returning around week 6 or week 7, and McNeil around week 8, week 9, or week 10 at the latest. But again, so this fills another need for the Lions. We have 3, if you want to be picky, 4 needs remaining this offseason. Number 1 being another starting edge and another depth edge. Number 2 being a safety 3. Yeah, Avonte Max is going to be that, but I'm talking about like an actual safety 3 who's played safety in the past and played at a high level. Number 3 was a linebacker 5. We didn't have that. Grant Stewart was linebacker 6 to me. And then again, if you want to be picky, tight end 3. So we have crossed another need off our list with linebacker 5. I would have preferred it to be Dennis Gardeck. I would have loved those Dennis Gardeck. Dennis Gardeck just made too much sense to me. Does a phenomenal job of rushing the passer for a linebacker. He's good in the run game. Can do pretty good in the pass game. He's a decent special teamer. He just would have made too much sense. I don't know if it was too much money for Brad because Gardeck probably, whatever team he signs with, is going to sound like a $3 million deal somewhere. I don't know if that's just too expensive for Brad. Zach Cunningham's probably going to cost a veteran minimum. Pretty sure Zach Cunningham signed like a 1-year, $1.5 million deal last offseason, so it'll probably for sure cost a veteran minimum this year. So I don't know if Dennis Gardeck was just too expensive or if he doesn't fit us for whatever reason. I think he does. It would have been perfect. I would have literally jumped out of my chair if we would have signed Dennis Gardeck. You get rid of 2 needs on your team. You get rid of the depth edge, and you get rid of the linebacker 5 need on your team. You knock 2 birds out with 1 stone. It just made too much sense. I mean, there's still a chance it could come here. But Zach Cunningham, welcome to Detroit. I like this signing. I've never been the biggest fan of the guy, but again, the guy has been very productive, mainly healthy for the most part. Led the league in tackles back-to-back seasons back in 2019 2020. Again, right after the 2020 season, he signed a 4-year, $58 million extension with them, and he used to be one of the better linebackers. I don't want to say one of the best, but he was definitely one of the better linebackers in the NFL at that time. So Zach Cunningham, welcome to Detroit. Cross off another need for the Detroit Lions. And again, with the Alex Anzalone contract situation that everybody's been talking about, I don't think this has any impact on that. I really don't think it does. Anzalone doesn't seem like at all the type of player to me to just hold out for a contract. I don't know where all this contract stuff has just come out of nowhere. Nothing. He skipped OTAs, I'm pretty sure, last offseason too, so I don't understand why everybody's all about this, but is what is. Even if he didn't skip OTAs last season, I don't think he's going to hold out for a contract. And if it is, he's not going to cost an insane amount of money. I mean, like, if I'm the Lions, I'm not extending him until next year unless he balls out this year. You have Jack Campbell under contract for, what, 3 more years? Most likely 3 more years. You got Derek Barnes, you just signed to a 3-year extension this offseason. Yeah, Rodriguez, Stewart are going to be a free agent after this year. But what I would do is just re-sign or extend Malcolm Rodriguez and let Anzalone go. You get younger. I view Malcolm Rodriguez very high, and Grant Stewart also will cost he won't cost the veteran minimum, but he will cost near that. And who knows, maybe he does very well this year if he ever has to step in. So that's just personally what I do. If I was to give Anzalone an extension, it's well deserved. I'm just saying I don't know from a financial and future standpoint if it makes a lot of sense. But if I was to give him an extension, I'd probably give him a 1 or 2 year extension. I'm definitely not giving him a 3-year extension. I'd probably give him just a 1-year extension, probably like a 1-year, $8 million deal is probably what he costs, somewhere on there. 1-year, $8 to $10 million deal. I'd probably do that. But I'm not giving him a 3-year deal. Really, I won't even want to give him a 2. This also came out that the Lions will be having the Houston Texans with joint practices. I think that's at home. I think that's at Ford Field. We are also having joint practices with the hold on a minute. Who was it with? The Dolphins. Yes, the Miami Dolphins is the other team we are having joint practices with. That came out a little bit ago, but this came out today. Actually, it came out about a week ago, reported by Detroit Lions on SI, but became official today that we were going to be hosting them as well. This also came out last night. I really don't believe these guys anymore. I'm going to be completely honest with you. They just said last week we were heavily interested in them, and then this came out. NFL rumors said the Lions are not expected to pursue Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson. So there was that. I don't really care about this, honestly. I don't really know if I believe it. I don't expect us to pursue it. Why would I expect the Lions to pursue Trey Hendrickson when they brought back Marcus Davenport but released Za'Darius Smith and refused to address the defensive end position in free agency, let alone the draft? So there's that. Just want to throw it out the window. Hutchinson has been also cleared to return. Haven't talked about that since the last video I made, I don't think. But we knew he was going to be cleared to return. He's already practicing in OTAs. The recording of this video, OTAs have officially began. He's already out there practicing and everything. So, one pride go Lions. I like the signing a lot. Adds depth, fills a position in need. And the Lions, if they can get a starting defensive end, bring back Z and get somebody else, or maybe get Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, that's a better chance that Jesus walking this earth again than that happened. Then I'm cool. But for right now, still, in my opinion, I don't know if we can get to a Super Bowl with our current pass rush. Marcus Davenport, better stay healthy. That's all I'm saying. One pride, go on.